What if the wide-eyed kid who shouted, "Dynamite!" on national television wasn't just lighting up the screen, but setting off a chain reaction that almost shattered a primetime revolution? In February 1974, America met Jimmie Walker's rubber-limbed, straw-thin J.J. Evans and laughed so hard the ratings meters rattled. The catchphrase ricocheted from living rooms to schoolyards, cereal commercials, and even rock concerts echoed that single explosive word. Yet the louder the audience roared, the shakier things felt behind the scenes. Co-stars worried that big themes were shrinking into a one-word punchline, and creator Norman Lear quietly warned that runaway success could still blow the show's mission apart. That tension, buried beneath canned laughter, is the fuse we're following tonight. But to understand the boom, we have to start long before the blast. From Bronx tenements to spotlights. Jimmie Walker entered the world as James Carter Walker Jr. on June 25, 1947, in New York's South Bronx, a neighborhood where landlords sometimes torched buildings for insurance and kids learned survival before algebra. His mother, Lena, pulled 12-hour hospital shifts. His often absent dad juggled random jobs. Young Jimmie scavenged curbside transistor radios, rewiring them for fun and falling asleep to late-night comics crackling through static. A federal program eventually sent him to RCA Technical Institute. By day, he memorized Ohm's law. By night, he subway hopped to Harlem clubs, testing jokes between shifts as a radio engineer. Precision circuitry met street rhythm, forging the tick-tock timing that soon defined his comedy. Money still mattered, so he clung to the engineering gig, until one Apollo theater booking shifted every frequency in his life. That Apollo set was electric. Walker bounded across the stage, riffing on subway delays and sky-high rent with a velocity nobody else matched. The roar of 3,000 strangers confirmed the lane he was born to drive. Club dates multiplied. The Bitter End, Pips, Mr. Kelly's, and a 6-minute blast on The Tonight Show made network phones glow red. One caller was casting for a Norman Lear series about a Chicago housing project family. Walker saw the audition as a side hustle, but the writers built the eldest son, James Jr., soon JJ, around his kinetic style. Nobody guessed that a single off-the-cuff "Dy-no-mite" would glue itself to pop culture in 3 episodes flat, turning a supporting role into the show's gravitational center and, quietly, the seed of brewing resentment. When comedy collided with cause. By season 2, the merchandising machine was unstoppable. Lunchboxes, t-shirts, even doorbells that shouted "Dynamite" whenever someone pressed the button. Ratings soared whenever Walker appeared, so writers tilted scripts his way. Episodes that once balanced systemic poverty and family resilience leaned heavily on JJ's chicken hat gags and giant paintings. Some viewers embraced the levity. Others mourned a mission drifting toward caricature. Walker, barely 30, shrugged. Laughter kept a broad audience tuned in, he argued. But the louder the laughs, the wider the crack between message and comedy. Something had to give. John Amos, the powerhouse playing patriarch James Evans Sr., pleaded for scripts that protected a black father's dignity. When producers kept dialing up JJ's antics, Amos erupted in a writers' meeting and was written off after season 3. Esther Rolle stayed, but she loathed every flailing dance that washed out the family struggle. Interviews from the era captured her calling JJ a buffoon. Walker insisted he was simply giving people what they wanted. Rumors of separate dressing rooms and late-night line swaps floated through studio corridors. Viewers sensed the strain when Amos's character died off screen and Florida remarried within episodes, yet the show marched on, proof that ratings can bury artistry. Decades of echoes and regrets. Resentment lingered long after the final curtain, waiting nearly 50 years for closure. In spring 2024, a sprawling Emmy magazine oral history finally drew confession from a 76-year-old Walker. He admitted, "I was a comedy kamikaze. Esther was furious, not at me as a man, but at what the jokes were doing to her mission." Walker credited her steel for anchoring the series in reality, and voiced deep regret they never swapped these truths in person. That revelation melted decades of rumor, but also reignited a second mystery tied to his name: the counter conundrum. In 2017, Norman Lear casually told a reporter that Walker was dating Ann Coulter. Headlines erupted, memes bloomed, and the odd pairing dominated late-night monologues. Coulter laughed that they were only dates in the sense of occasional dinners. Yet photos of the duo at events in 2007, 2010, and 2016 resurface every few months, fueling clickbait speculation that refuses to die. Walker, ever the comic, lets the riddle dangle, smiling wide enough to keep gossip blogs guessing, never quite closing the file. A rebel with his own rule book. His politics only add fuel. He calls himself a realist independent. He blasted affirmative action as outdated, skipped both Obama elections, and praised Donald Trump's poll with voters outside big cities, igniting online firestorms. On daytime panels, he's warned that cancel culture might kill any future All in the Family. One wrong joke and you're done. Free speech fans clap, critics label him tone-deaf. Walker doubles down, urging young comics to tell risky truths and let the crowd decide. Whether that stance reads brave or stubborn, it's never boring, and it keeps him booked on cable news as often as in comedy clubs. From cult films to soap opera cameos, Walker also refuses to fade into nostalgia. In 2010, he popped up in Insane Clown Posse's gonzo western Big Money Rustlers, then battled a land-leaping shark in sci-fi's Super Shark a year later. Each role let him poke fun at his legend while courting a midnight movie crowd. He hosted trivia nights on college campuses, cameoed of Everybody Hates Chris, and popped into The Bold and the Beautiful for a 2023 arc that had daytime fans buzzing about JJ Meets Forrester creations. His memoir, Dy-no-mite, plus a smartphone app that shouts the catchphrase on demand, show a performer determined to steer his own narrative. During the 2020 lockdown, he even took to TikTok. One short clip, just Walker making a PB&J while riffing on stimulus checks, went viral with 3 million loops in 2 days. A follow-up duet with a Gen Z comic dissecting vintage slang pulled him onto morning show segments, introducing Dy-no-mite to viewers whose parents weren't yet born in 1974. The Netflix blowback. Control became critical in April 2024 when Netflix unveiled a red band trailer for its animated Good Times reboot. A diaper-clad infant running contraband and a barrage of bleep-worthy jokes shocked longtime fans. Civil rights leaders called it a punchdown on people still living in the projects, and a boycott petition soared past 12,000 names in a week. Reviewers tagged the show tone-deaf and baffling. Walker and original co-star Bernadette Stanis revealed they'd pitched a lighter, family-friendly cartoon years earlier, only to be ghosted. Suddenly, the man once accused of turning the 1970s classic into a gag was its fiercest guardian, appearing on podcasts to dissect the fine line between satire and stereotype. Tour bus truths and merch table confessions. Controversy hasn't slowed his hustle. Check his 2025 calendar and you'll see casino lights in Tuolumne flashing out Dy-no-mite, winery patios in Lodi setting extra chairs, state fairs in Iowa offering backstage barbecue passes,
and a Soul Jam weekend in Cerritos advertising VIP photo ops. Ticket hubs tout him among the top comedy draws of 2025. Small theaters from New Hampshire's Park Theater to Florida's Joke Joint fill their marquees with his name. Walker travels light. Carry-on bag, sketch pad, and an ancient, battered radio he still repairs for fun. He rewrites material on the bus, riffs on local headlines, then lingers after shows to sign vintage lunchboxes or FaceTime grandkids of original viewers. Fans tap his phone app so it shrieks Dy-no-mite while they pose for selfies, merging old-school fandom with digital age bragging rights. Rumor versus reality, and the cost of a catchphrase. Still, rumors outrun any punchline. The Coulter story pops up whenever a slow news week hits, and Walker's cryptic grin keeps it alive. Think piece writers argue whether his politics betray the very audience that lifted him. Walker shrugs off both camps, saying he's chasing common sense, not applause. Comedy, he likes to remind skeptics, is truth wrapped in timing. If the timing's right, the truth lands. Pandemic downtime sparked fresh chatter about his private life. He's never married and has no children, but tabloids keep pairing him with influencers half his age. Walker laughs it off. "Folks, I'm old enough to be her grandfather. Cool it." He says solitude keeps him focused, yet friends claim he's the first to pick up a lunch tab and the last to abandon a late-night diner booth when a rookie comic needs advice.